All right, can everyone hear and see me okay? It looks like we had some internet issues, so I was trying to disconnect and reconnect. Hopefully, hopefully you're all still with me. It seems like maybe it's the heat, right? That's my theory. I'm sticking with it. It's too hot for the internet, right? Okay, well, I'm glad some of you are logging back in and rejoining me. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit smoother from here. Sorry for the interruption. So let's go back. So discussion 7 finally loaded here. So as always, at the top, you have my instructions and then my video. This one, kind of a newer one that I created, and this one is all about self-care. And I think it's a really wonderful opportunity, especially at this point in our class, to kind of think about what are some ways that you take care of yourself, right? And this can be something that can be big or small. It doesn't have to be elaborate. But what you're going to do is read this little article right here about self-care, and then you're going to take and upload 5 pictures of you engaging in self-care activities. So what I'm looking for you to do here is to use your own images. Don't do like a Google search for pictures, but I want you to take your own and have them be thoughtful, creative, well composed, like make them creative and fun. You don't have to be in the pictures. It'd actually be easier if you weren't. And they can be of your self-care activity or any element of it. So don't overthink it, but for each one, you're going to write a short description of what you're doing, how it promotes self-care, and then how you felt during and after the experience. This should ideally just be a couple of sentences. I am writing a book on self-care, and I'm hoping that some of you have really cool images and I can reach out to you for permission to use them. But as a great side note, I think this is a fantastic thing to practice and engage in. And so make sure that you not only reply to mine, but also then, of course, a classmate to get those 2 points, as always. And then discussion number 8, hopefully that one will load. Thinking about it, ooh, so much faster, right? So again, my instructions and the video. This one is about social psychology. And so with social psychology here, you're going to perform 3 random acts of kindness or altruism. Ideally, these should be kind of unplanned and random. They can vary from something really small to something bigger, depending on the situation and your comfort and whatnot. But you're going to describe the 3 acts that you performed. What did you do? What were the reactions of the recipient, if any? What were your reactions and thoughts? Then you're going to describe a time where you were the victim of prejudice or discrimination based on your age, race, ethnicity, orientation, gender, religion, ability, or basically anything. You're going to share your reactions and what happened. If you've never been a victim of prejudice or discrimination, you could always write about an example from someone else in your life, or maybe even something that you saw in a movie or that you witnessed for somebody else. And then what are some strategies that people can employ to help reduce prejudice and discrimination in their lives? So that's what you'll focus on. And then, of course, you'll hit reply when you have finished that to get those 2 points for the peer response. Finally, for this week, or I guess it's not finally, you have exam number 4. Remember that the exams aren't cumulative, so exam number 4 is just on the stuff from this week. So make sure you know all of these terms from chapters 13, 14, 15, and 16. Again, as I've mentioned several times, if it were me, I would probably write or type those terms out and have the study guide in front of me. But that's entirely up to you and your level of comfort and everything with the information. But I would type it out and have it in front of me. That way I could guarantee that I didn't have to look for things during the exam. So you do have that exam this week. There's a little closing class survey, totally anonymous. If you have some feedback for me that you would like to share about the class, I would love to hear it. And then I'll of course post a recording of this later, and the extra credit question is coming. But I do want to take a few minutes to talk about the closing assignment. So the closing assignment, oh, I have a cat. Come here. Noodle. So here's my little Noodle cat, my youngest, my little baby cat. So there's Noodle. Fettuccine Alfredo, right? So for the closing assignment, you have the instructions, a concept list, and a sample. So let's take a look at the sample first, because I think that's the easiest place to start. What I want you to notice is this doesn't necessarily follow like a traditional paper format. So you're coming up with a term, and then you're defining it, and then you're writing about how you could apply it to your life. So this is my way of getting you to think back over the course and the things we've covered without testing you cumulatively. So what you're going to do is look for on the previous page here, there's a whole list of all the different terms and concepts that we've covered right here. And so what you'll go do is go through this list and pick 5 of these. And you can define it straight out of the textbook. Again, you're following that very specific format. The focus of this here is on how could you apply this information to your life. Now this is worth 25 points, so it's worth more than a discussion, obviously less than an exam. And when you're ready up here, you'll hit start assignment on that closing assignment instructions page. So just to review the content, again, there should be 5 specific terms or concepts that you can apply to your life in some way. And for each one, you'll give me the term, the definition, and the application. My focus in grading it is on the application piece. I'm looking to see that you can take a concept that we've covered and apply it, excuse me, apply it to your life in some way. So make sure you format it like that. It doesn't need to be a traditional paper. So number your examples 1 through 5. It should be roughly 2 pages or so typed, and you're going to submit it right here. There's also a rubric down here if you kind of want that information. But the goal of this, again, is to see that you can take the things that we've covered and apply at least 5 of them to your life. I hope you have way more than 5, but 5 is what I'm looking for. It is worth 25 points, so 5 points for each one. And you're doing that right here where it says instructions. So that is the one kind of unique thing for this week. Otherwise, we follow our normal format of 2 discussions, an exam, and then you do have that little anonymous closing survey. Because one more time, I'm going to put this in the chat again. Please remember that our class officially ends on Friday night, July 12th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so as I've mentioned a couple of times now, really make sure that you get your materials done. I'm really strict about those deadlines, right? And if you reach out to me, this is really the one week that I can't give you any additional time because final grades are due and everything does close. So just make sure that you get everything in by Friday night. I will give you the extra credit question here. One last reminder for you, if you have the opportunity, if you could just double check one last time that you're still subscribed on Twitch, especially if you're watching this later as a recording, that way you can get credit for answering that last extra credit question. But it has been 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks, so some of you might have fallen off. And I really appreciate those of you who found a way to do this. It saves me so much time, and with it being summer and I'm with my kids, I really appreciate those of you who have done that for me. Someone said, I have a question on the definitions. Can we use examples of our past? Yeah, so you could use things from the past. Maybe what you could do is if you use something that's old, how could this information maybe change it? So let's say something happened and now you have this information and now you would apply it differently. So if you use something older, maybe kind of put a new spin on it of how the information you learned could help you now, if you had known it then, but instead you know it now. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. The other thing I have for you, let me give you the Twitch extra credit question for this week, something that we're looking at in the unit on social psychology. So this is the week number 4. Yeah, no problem. Week number 4 Twitch extra credit question. What are norms? And give me a specific example. What are norms? So maybe you define that. And then give me a specific example. And when you're ready to answer that, you'll go back to Canvas. And you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 4, since we're in week 4. And then start assignment up at the top. And then you can type your response right here. And when you're ready, hit submit to get your confetti burst and balloons naturally, right? So make sure again that you get everything done Friday night. Remember, Friday. Our class ends Friday night at 11:59 p.m. Thank you all so much for those of you who have joined me every week or as much as you can. I know this was a really fast class. If you're super into the topics that we've covered, I do teach human sexuality and abnormal psychology in person on campus, and then I also teach research methods online in the fall and in the spring. I'd love it if you want to join me again, kind of teach my classes online very similarly to this one, except without that ebook site that has caused us so many issues. I'm sorry again that has caused so many problems for so many people in this short period of time. I think they were going through like a big update and it was clearly a little bit of bad timing. So I'm sorry about that. But otherwise, thank you all so much. What I'll do is I'll hang out for a little bit. If you do have any questions for me, Otherwise, make sure you get going on the content. Finish up week number 4 well before the Friday night deadline if you can. And I hope you all have a wonderful summer, a happy Shark Week, right, and a wonderful July. So I'll hang out for a little bit, but I'm going to minimize my video so I'm not staring at myself. But thank you all. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and for those of you who have joined me, every week. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great last week. Thank you too. Have a wonderful rest of your summer. Enjoy the next like month or so that we have before school starts back up. Thank you as well. Have a wonderful night.